Hey there everyone, and welcome back to this week's You Chef Cook Along. I'm going to be taking you through the 9 dishes, showing you how to plate them up and giving you some tips from inside the kitchen. To start with, on the bread we've got a lovely malted sourdough with a smoked chicken butter and some chicken scratchings. The starter sees the return of a smoked mackerel pâté with a beetroot jelly. On the main course we have a lovely risotto Milanese with some king prawns, and then we're going to finish off with a couple of desserts, a peach pressing and then a Paris-Brest of hazelnut and praline. So unpack the box, let's set the table and let's get cooking. For this week's weekly bake, we have a lovely malted sourdough with a smoked chicken butter and some chicken scratchings. To start with, I'm going to go put this in the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes. And then while that's in the oven, we're just going to get our butter ready. So the butter here we want to come up to room temperature. So the best thing to do with this is just to get it into your hands, and then using the warmth of your hands, roll it round. And we're going to just put it into the pot with the chicken scratchings. And we're just going to roll it around so all those chicken scratchings start to stick to the butter, just covering it up, and you've got this lovely crispy chicken skin on the outside of your butter. Then once we've done that, we'll transfer it onto our serving plate, which I'll just do now. So we'll just put that there, and now we'll leave that to soften up even more, and I'll be back in those 8 to 10 minutes to show you how to plate this one up. So the malted sourdough has been in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes. I've just allowed it to rest for a couple of minutes, so I'm just going to open it up. And we're going to slice it and serve it with our chicken butter. So you see it's got a nice dark colour because of the malt. This one I'm just going to slice into 4. Just going across, like that way, and then straight across that way as well. I'm going to put it onto our serving plate, like that. And we can take that to the table, and then that's ready to go. So we have the malted sourdough with the chicken fat butter with chicken scratchings. For our fish starter this week, we've got a smoked mackerel pâté with a beetroot and apple jelly. We have our cider apple dressing, our pickled beetroots, nasturtium leaves, some crispy pumpernickel and some fresh apple. So to get to plating, I've got my serving plate here. The pâté's been out of the fridge for about 15 minutes, just gone to room temperature. I'm just going to put that in the centre. So to start with, I'm going to take my apple, I'm just going to slice some matchsticks of it, ready to go onto the pâté. So just going down, cutting along, like that. And then what I'll do is I'll just quickly line them back up, just going back in the size, and then we'll just go along, getting your nice little matchsticks of apple with that green down each side. So to start with, just move that to the one side. I'm going to put a couple of these on to begin with. Probably go with about 5 to start with. Again, you can place these how you like, just to help give the dish a little bit of height. Then next on we're going to go with our pickled beetroots. So we've got some candied pickled beetroot here, and then also some red. I'm just going to go round, placing them. And then finally that last one. Then we're going to go with a touch more apple. Then we're going to get our dressing, which just has a little bit of diced apple in there as well. Give that a quick stir, and that's just going to help dress the plate. Finally, we've got some of these lovely big nasturtium leaves. Put them on, and then with your pumpernickel bread, we've got a nice handy bendy fork here that sits the bread in perfectly. So if you don't have one of these, you can just sit there like that. But for this one, I'm going to put it in there, and then the toast will just sit in between the fronds. And then there we have it. There we have our smoked mackerel pâté with a beetroot jelly and crispy pumpernickel. Here we have the meat starter for you. We have something a little bit different this week. So we have this stunning Iberico pork with some buffalo mozzarella, some baby globe artichokes that have just been cooked, and then a pea shoot with a lemon dressing. So to start with the Iberico pork, we're just going to take that, and we're going to put it around the plate. Iberico pork's quite special because their diet is mainly acorns, so you get this really nice, deep, nutty flavour from it, which is a bit different to what you'd normally get with other cuts or other types of breed of pork. So I've just got the slices of ham in there. I'm going to leave a little hole in the centre for the mozzarella. So what we're going to do with that, just going to put a little bit of rapeseed oil over that, and then a little bit of seasoning. And then with the mozzarella, we're just going to tear that in half, and then we're going to place that into the centre of our plate, just coating it in a bit more of that rapeseed and seasoning. So put a little bit in there. And we'll go a touch more. And we'll just put that to one side. Wash the hands quickly. So then to finish off the artichokes, we're going to dress it again, a little touch of rapeseed dressing and a little bit of Maldon salt. Then with our serving spoon, we're just going to put those around, crossing over each other. Always just making a little nest for that mozzarella. And the last one can go in there. Just put that one underneath. Then we have our, get rid of the timer, sorry. Then we have our pea shoots, and we're going to dress this in the lemon dressing. So we're going to save some of the lemon dressing to go around the plate at the end. So I'm just going to give that a little mix. And I'm going to use this just to sit on the top of the mozzarella in the centre, like so. And then finally, just get some of that remaining dressing and just put it in. And there we have the starter for you. So here we have the Iberico pork with buffalo mozzarella and pea shoots. Enjoy. Vegetarian starter this week, we've got another new dish for you. So we have the velouté of salt-baked turnips with a dice of salt-baked turnip, a ravioli of peas and broad beans, and then a watercress salsa. So to start with, I'm going to get my raviolis. I'm just going to carefully put them into a pan of simmering water for about 4 to 5 minutes, just so they can get cooking. So I'm going to drop those in there now and set the timer. While they're cooking, I'm going to warm this up on the stove, just on a gentle heat, just to bring it to the boil. So I'll be back in that time to show you how to plate it up. So just coming back to show you how to plate up the vegetarian starter of the raviolis. So these have just been cooking now for 4 minutes. I've just got a little pan here and I've just melted a little bit of butter in there. I'm going to carefully lift these out into the serving dish. Just getting some of that cooking water in there, and we're just going to make a slight emulsion with the butter that's in there. So I'll just bring that over so you can see. So you see the butter and the water have sort of come together to make a little emulsion. Before we get served, I'm just going to get a spoonful, we're just going to baste it over the top of each ravioli, and then we'll put them to one side ready to serve. So I'm just going to grab down my heated serving bowl, and then to start with I've got my little dice of salt-baked turnips. So you might have seen on our Instagram the picture that went up. So the turnips were wrapped in a salt pastry, and then they're baked. And once they're baked, what we do is we take them out, we trim them up, and then we dice it, and then all the excess we turn into the velouté, so we're not wasting any of that turnip. So you just get our 3 piles there, just flatten out just so we can sit the raviolis on. And what the salt baking does, it really intensifies that turnip flavour and gets rid of any excess moisture inside the vegetable. So once you've got those, that's one side. So the raviolis we've got here, just going to get a little bit of Maldon salt on top of each one. And just before they go on, just going to do one little final baste over them, and it just gives them a nice little shine. So then you can either use your like a fish slice or a big serving spoon. You just want to carefully go underneath them. You're going to sit each one on those turnips, just like that. And then we'll get that last one. Just sit him over there. Just get rid of our emulsion pan. We're going to get our velouté. Just going to make a tiny little gap in the centre there, and then the velouté just going to pour straight into the centre, just filling up our bowl. And pour a little bit over here where it's not getting through that gap. Give it a little shake to level it out. Then the watercress salsa, if you get 2 spoons, just get a little bit on your spoon, and we can just drop that in and around. So in there we've got the sautéed watercress, a little bit of garlic, shallot, some thyme, and let's just mix with some rapeseed oil, a little bit of mustard in there as well. So 3 dots like that. And then finally, just before we go to the table, a few drops of some lovely Isle of Wight rapeseed oil to finish this one off. We've got a lovely starter here for you, and that is the raviolis of peas and broad beans with a watercress salsa. Enjoy. The fish main course this week, we see the return of the Risotto Milanese. So we've got some lovely tiger prawns in here. We've left some with their head and shell on and some we've peeled and deveined for you. We've got the risotto liquor and the risotto rice with a little bit of Parmesan, lemon and some butter in there. We've got some whipped cream that we'll add right at the end. And then finally we've got our charred lemon, sea herbs and fennel. So to start with, we're going to put both of these in the oven for 6 to 8 minutes. And then while that's in there, we're going to gently warm this up. So I'll be back in that time to show you how to plate up. Ready to plate up the risotto Milanese. I've just got my heated serving bowl here, so I'm just going to put that in front of me. So the risotto I've cooked down, I've got rid of all that lovely cooking litter, which is the saffron stock made with the langoustine heads and prawn heads. So we've got our whipped cream here, so I'm just going to squirt that in, just cut the end of the bag and squirt some in like that. Put that there for one side, and then we're going to mix it round, and you can see again now it comes to a nice lovely risotto consistency that we're after. That just helps lighten up the whole dish. So once we've got that in like that, we're ready to now plate. So to start with, all of this is going straight into the centre of our serving bowls. I'll just turn that round so you guys can see a bit easier. And then what we're going to do is you can push it down with the Maurice, or what you can do is, if you want, just put that to one side quickly. You can also, once you've got your circle, you can just lift up your serving dish, just with the palm of your hand, just gently tap it, and then it levels itself out for you. So there we've got a nice base to work with. So I'm going to go on first with the braised fennel. I'm just going to put to one side. And I'm going to go on, start going on with some of the prawns. Put one there, put them around. Then we'll go on with some of the sea herbs. Just for a touch of colour on there. And we get these locally, like most of our sea herbs and some of the wild garlic you might have seen over the menus this last few weeks. Tend to go out foraging for a lot of these goods, using the island's larder. So add a few more of these on. Get that last tiger prawn in there. Oh, if it happens like that, you can use the head as a bit of presentation, and you can just move that tail over here. The show must go on. A little bit more of the sea herbs, and then finally we're going to finish it with that lovely charred lemon, which we can squeeze at the table. And then there we have our risotto Milanese. Enjoy! So for the main course this week, we have the chicken that's been cooked with hay and truffle, with lovely roasted chicken red wine sauce, some spring vegetables in the emulsion, a little deboned chicken Kiev, and then a chicken fat potato. So to start with, the chicken's going to go into the oven for about 14-16 minutes till it's nice and hot in the centre. Without the legs, the Kiev and the potato are both going to go in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes, and then we're just going to drop our vegetables that are in the emulsion in the water for 5 to 6 minutes. So I'll get all of this in the oven, and I'll be back to show you how to plate it up. So we're all ready to plate up the chicken main course. Got all the stuff here, and the sauce is just heating up on the stove. So to start with, I'm just going to get a serving spoon. I'm going to get some of our spring vegetables. I'm going to place them to one side of our serving plate, just to make like a little bed for the chicken to sit on. So we've got some edamame beans, some pink radishes, some baby carrots, and then some lovely Isle of Wight asparagus. So get another big spoonful of that, and you can keep some of the veg back just to add on afterwards. One more spoonful, and then we're going to get our chicken, just using a fish slice, go underneath, take it off that UB Chef paper, and we're just going to sit it on our spring vegetables like that. And we get some of the other vegetables now, some more of those lovely pink radishes. Placing around some of the baby carrots. Another radish down there. And finally, baby carrot. Oh, it's not playing ball today. So get rid of that tub. I'm just going to get our sauce over here, which has been heating up. So just before you put the chicken fat potato on, what you can do is you can get a little bit of this sauce, just put a touch of it over there, and you can just glaze it up slightly just before it goes to the table. And we've really well seasoned this one, so you won't have to add any Maldon salt on the top. You can go under with your meat or fish slice again, and you can just sit that one next to the chicken there, like so. And then we've got the Kiev, so just be careful of this because it's got a lovely pokey garlic butter in there. I'm just going to sit that one on the veg there. And then finally, get that chicken sauce. We're going to do one nice big spoonful over that breast, like that. And then we're going to do a little bit around. And then here we have the main course of the chicken that's been baked with hay and truffle, spring vegetables in emulsion, chicken fat potato and a chicken wing Kiev. Enjoy! Vegetarian main course this week, we have a roasted cauliflower steak with a harissa yoghurt, some pomegranate seeds, a coriander and almond dressing, and finally a coriander and almond couscous. So to start with, we're going to put our cauliflower steak, that's just going to go into some water for about 8 minutes. Then after that 8 minutes, we're going to take it out of its pouch and put it on our Yoop Chef paper and roast it in the oven for 4 minutes just to finish it off. The couscous with the lid on, you can put this in the oven for 8 minutes. You might just want to add a little tablespoon of water in there or some oil just to help it stay moist. So I'm going to put that in the oven, and then when we come back I'll show you how to plate it up. I'm ready to plate up the cauliflower main course, so I'm just going to get my heated serving plate and just place that in front of me. To start with, I'm going to get the cauliflower couscous that's just been roasted in the oven for 8 minutes. I'm going to put a spoonful of it in the centre and just press it down, and then another big spoonful of that. Just push it down, just making a little base for that cauliflower to sit on. Then we're going to get our fish slice, we're going to get our cauliflower steak, so that's been in the water, then it's been roasted through the oven. We're just going to sit that on top of the couscous, like so. We're going to get our yoghurt, so just be careful because this is a little bit loose. I've just cut a really small end at the end of the piping bag, and then just gently, you'll see it'll start to come out. We're just going to go round the plate a few times. And that's the harissa yoghurt. Put that to one side and just get rid of any of our dirty plates. Then we've got our pomegranate seeds, which we're going to place some over the actual cauliflower and just sprinkle it all over the dish. And then finally we're going to finish it with that dressing. So once we're done with the pomegranate seeds, we're going to get our dressing. So in there we've got some roasted almonds, some chopped coriander and some rapeseed oil and a little bit of vinegar and lemon juice as well. Put that over the top of the steak. Just covering it almost to glaze it. Like that. And then this one is all ready to serve. So we have our roasted cauliflower steak with pomegranate seeds and harissa yoghurt. Enjoy. For the first dessert this week, we have our pressing of peaches with a white chocolate and mint aero, some fresh raspberries and a raspberry gel. So to plate this one up, we're just going to get our fish slice, we're going to go carefully underneath the pressing, we're going to put it to one side of our serving plate. You'll see it has some cling film on there, so once it's down, you just want to carefully remove that, and that just helps it in transit with its shape. So get rid of the cling film, and we're going to get our piping bag of raspberry gel, We're going to pipe one big nice pile of it. Try and get some good height on there, like that. Then we're going to go on with some of our mint aero. Just going to place it around so you can just see the aero. It's been dusted in some mint, and that's what gives it that nice green colour. And then finally we have our raspberries, just to finish it off. So there we have it, our pressing of peaches with a white chocolate mint aero, raspberries and a raspberry gel. Enjoy. So for one of the desserts, we have a hazelnut and praline Paris-Brest. So we've got our choux ring here, we have a cocoa nib and hazelnut granola, an espresso crème anglaise, an espresso sugar syrup, and then finally our praline mousse. So this has just been in the oven for 4 minutes to re-crispen. So to start plating, we're going to get our pastry knife and we're going to slice this one in half. And then what I'm going to do is, I'm going to leave the base on this side here, and I'm going to put the lid on my plate over this way. So to start with, I'm going to get a little pastry brush and my espresso syrup. I'm just going to brush that on the top, and that's just going to hopefully help the cocoa nib and hazelnut granola stick to it. So just do that now. Dab that around. Then we get our granola. Just going to sprinkle that on top, and we're just doing it on this plate just to try and contain any of the mess. So you don't want it going all over our kitchen worktop or onto our chopping board. So I'll get that going all the way around. You can see it's just sticking on there. You've got the roasted cocoa nibs and the nicely roasted hazelnuts. So then to carry on plating, we're going to get our praline mousse. So we've got a praline which is just hazelnuts that have been blitzed into a powder, and then mixed with our dark chocolate and some whipped cream. I'm going to pipe that round. We're going to go again. And we're going to go one more as well. Really fill it up. Put that to one side. And we're going to get our lid. Just put that on the top, and that's all ready to go on the plate. So before we put it on the plate, we're going to get our espresso crème glaze. So I'm serving this at room temperature. If you want, you can put this on the stove, but be careful not to boil it because it will split, just if you want a warm custard. But I prefer just a nice room temperature one. So I'm going to put it in the centre, and then either with the back of a spoon or a ladle, you can just lightly push it out and get a circle. And then where it goes thinner in the centre is where we'll sit the Paris-Brest. So we'll just carefully lift that up and put that in. And then there we have the dessert of the hazelnut and praline Paris-Brest with an espresso crème glaze.